Major milestones in the altcoin market. With Ethereum, we're also seeing Ondo getting an ETF filing. We also see BNB breaking to new all-time highs. And of course, the Bitwise ETF that had 10 different crypto that was approved and then immediately paused. And then of course, we have Avalanche with $240 billion potentially tapping into tokenized real estate. So many stories within the crypto market that we have to cover today. Also with the altcoins in general, the total three. Is it going to break absolute pumpage up here into this area and actually tackle the previous all-time high? Or are we about to have a bigger reset down? A Bitcoin also still holding strong at the 118K mark. But what is coming next? We're going to dive into this in just a moment. So let's get this set. Let's get this retweeted. Let's get active in the live chat.
Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Bitcoin, pump, altcoins, pump. I've been preparing for this. Can't nobody tell me nothing.
The crypto market, absolute pumpage, it's breaking away. And then it slows down and it feels like, is this the top? Well, I have news for you. This is not the top. We're going to see some corrections in the altcoin market. It is signaled in the charts. Bitcoin is still telegraphing it's going to make a move higher, but will there be a move down before that happens? We're going to be talking about quite a few different charts and signals and what's happening right now in this market, because we're getting a non-stop onslaught of just positive news and developments, the fundamental underpinnings that are signaling higher for not only Bitcoin, but also the altcoin market. So let's dive into it. Shout out to everybody that is here. Big love to each and every one of you that's tuned in. We got about 300 people here. In a few minutes, we'll have about 3,000. So as you get active in here, I just ask you, I call on you to be a friend, to be a BitLab family member. Hit the like button down below. If you're watching on YouTube, on Rumble, on X, wherever you're watching, hit the thumbs up or hit the heart, hit the retweet, whatever. You can also share this link to your social medias. Get active in here and turn on the notifications because we got some changes coming. We got some new things that are brewing here as well. Now, when we dive into what we're seeing in this market, we see just a little bit of a reset. It's over. It's done. Is it really? We're seeing the crypto market sitting at a $3.87 trillion market cap. This is not a pullback. This is just a tiny little blip on the radar so far. And we're seeing Bitcoin still at that 118K range. We're seeing Ethereum 3,600, XRP $3.30, a little bit of a pullback. But look at this, 6% pullback in 24 hours. It's over, right? Well, we just had a massive move up this week. There tends to be, when you have a major move up, a little bit of a testing of the bullish momentum there when you get a little bit of a sell-off. Some people take profits and you want to see where the bulls come back in and define what their strength is, showing basically by how much of a dip you're getting in that asset. We're also seeing BNB break to new all-time highs, actually also over $100 billion, $109 billion, 12% up this week, but and still up 2%. But we did get a little bit of a dip because this did go up over $800, new all-time high for BNB. And Solana, of course, still sitting pretty, up 15% this week and a 5%, 6% pullback. Remember, when you're seeing these kind of moves to the upside and you're getting this gift of a dip, if you like the assets that are dipping, take advantage of it. Don't get so frustrated because we got a lot of things brewing in this market. Now, when we kind of go through some of these things, this is what we're seeing. $136,000 per Bitcoin is a lot closer than many realize. And this is on the on-chain originals price models. So what we're seeing here is 136K target on this. And this would not define what the top would be. This is just showing what is very likely coming very soon. And what we see on the chart that I've modeled out, that I've been sharing with you guys, is the next target up is what? $136,000. And now what is this based on? This is based on this basically bull flag that we have right here, this bull pennant, which you take a measurement. When you see this type of pattern, you take a measurement. which basically you can use a trend line here or use a quick key, Option T or Alt T if you're on PC, Option T if you're on Mac, and you just draw from there to the top of that formation and then measure this. Oops, measure this out. Where's that line? Measure this out from the top there. And I also like to measure from the bottom of the pattern here. So you get a sort of general conservative and otherwise target of what we're seeing here. So you see the measurement is from the bottom there all the way to the top. Yeah, right there. Now we draw that out and you see that goes to right about where that target is, $136,000. Well, what's this $160,000 target? It's just a figment of my imagination, right? No, we've got this breakout pattern, which is the breakout of this larger, basically slingshot pattern to the upside. And this is the shoulder, the head, and the shoulder. This is what's known as an inverse head and shoulders. Yes, some of you might know what these things are, but remember, we got new people coming in every day. We got to send the elevator back down. So you measure from this neckline where all these resistance points have been, and you measure that all the way to the bottom part of the head, and then you measure that from the breakout of that neckline, and that's showing basically up here in this $159,000 to $162,000 region. So we've got the larger pattern and then the breakout pattern right here. Now, this is what really messes people up, because you have this bullish pattern and this larger bullish pattern. Everybody says, well, if this is where it's going, I'm going to go 47x long and I'm about to be rich. Well, the market is aware of that. That's why we look at these liquidation heat maps. These liquidation heat maps, now you have different time frames. This is a 24-hour. We can go to the 12-hour like you see right here, and you can go to the larger time frames that gives a bit more weight, like the 3-month. But this is not going to be so relevant for our trading and our basically looking for opportunities for good buy zones right now. So let's go to something a little bit more reasonable. Let's look at the 1 week, which gives us the general landscape. A lot of liquidity above us, meaning all these people, this is liquidation zones for people that shorted. Why would this be above? Because if somebody's shorting, they're betting on it going down. So this is the area, if the price goes against their short, that those shorts will be forced to close, which is a forced buy. And similarly, all these this hot zone down here, very bright colors, is where people were betting long. And as this, even right here, why would this be down here? Because some people are betting 3x, some are 7x, some are 25x, so on and so forth. And this sort of aggregation shows where there's a lot of liquidity of people that went long, that if the price goes against them, meaning going down instead of up, then these get forced closed. So here what we're seeing is some people are going short, some people are going long. And there's not a lot of clear definition as to what to look for right now, but there's a little bit of, this sort of uncertainty as to what the next move is. We had the crypto report that was supposed to come out yesterday. It got delayed to the end of the week, the end of the month. I guess that is kind of the end of, 7-8 days from now. But we also have the FOMC meeting next week, Wednesday, 1 week from today, the 30th. We also have a little bit more resolution that needs to come clear into the end of this month about the rest of the trade deals. There's a lot going on right now, but we're seeing a nonstop flood of bullish news that's coming in, which is setting up fundamental upside. But that doesn't mean in the near term we cannot have a bit of a dip, especially when there's so much expectation of higher. There's so much expectation of higher that sets up opportunities for the market makers and big money players to trigger on the smallest bit of either bad news or even just forced downside pressure with huge liquidity in the markets triggering downside action to then catch people in those basically bear traps before we move higher, thus flushing out the long over leverage, getting people to bet short, and then giving a lot more liquidity to slingshot back to the upside. Understanding these market moves and these market dynamics really helps you navigate what's going on in this market. Now, as everybody is looking at these charts, feeling impatient, realize this market is moving so much faster than you realize. It wasn't so long ago. It really was not that long ago that Bitcoin was down here at $16,000. If we measure from essentially today to where that today, which is right here, let's see, right, 20, there we go, to where we're at back here, this was only about, it feels like a long time, but 900 days, about a year and a half, 2 years. Is that really right? That's the 3-day chart. Let's see. Boom, right here. Yeah. So measure from this low right here. We're measuring the days, not the price percentage. Where are we at? Right here. Yeah, about 930 days. Is that really almost 3 years? Almost 3 years. Golly. Long time. In the scheme of things, if you're in crypto, but in the nature of what we're looking at in global markets, this is not that long. I can remember when we had the 7-month sideways price action, which is not, yeah, was it right here? This was, look at this. This was 224 days roughly sideways price action, slightly going to the downside. So it wasn't that long ago. $49,000. $49,000 to where we're at today. Let's measure that. That is only roughly about a year. And we can see that. Why? Because this was the end of July. Remember the Japanese yen carry trade? So 1 year, we pumped from $49,000 to $120,000. There is work to be done as more and more buying pressure is coming in, and it's not that big of a deal when we really just allow ourselves a little bit more patience and realize that this is setting up. And what did I talk about 2 days ago? I talked about the price action potentially setting up a bull trap up, coming back down, washing people out. Now, maybe it comes only to here. Maybe it actually washes back further, a little bit further down to the downside. But this has ultimately done exactly what we talked about. Breaking beyond this resistance, making people think this is the time. They go leverage long only to have it reverse on them. Now, currently, this is looking just on a candle basis. This is looking a bit more bullish because we did have the push up, the washout down. The bears really tried to move this to the downside. And this candle, you don't understand. Everybody's looking at all these huge, broad array of data, and they forget to even consider what the basics are. I don't care if you're trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, or the NASDAQ, or Apple, or NVIDIA, or it doesn't matter what asset you're trading. Candles operate the same on every asset. They tell you a story. When you see a red candle like this, a bearish candle, it means it opened up here and the price is moving down. So the bears are in control of this candle. Now, what you're seeing on this with the body, this is within the candle still being open. So this is a 4-hour candle. This is showing that the candle opened here. It moved up. The bulls had a bit of a run here, but then the bears took it all the way down to here. That's what this long wick is, a shadow, some people call it, this very thin line. The bears brought the price all the way down to here, but then now the candle's still being open. The bulls brought it all the way back up. So while this felt very bearish, it's starting to tell a potential bullish recapturing of momentum, resisting the bears from having this close all the way down here. The bulls bring it all the way back up. If this maintains this, and then we get another candle and this rounds out, we get another maybe candle like this hammer candle here, then this is suggesting we're about to make another move to the upside. If you don't know the basics of just looking at general candle analysis, there's no sense in understanding RSI and stochastics and money flow because you don't know how to tie your shoes. Why are you going to go running? So this is starting to tell us in the near term, if this persists with another candle that suggests this as well, that we're about to get another run. But we're going to be looking at other data on this as well, because it's not just the candles we want to pay attention to. There's other major impacts here. As I open the show here, yes, we have 136K, which is the next immediate target above us on chain. We also see it within the candle pattern structures of this market. When you zoom out of this, let me double click here. That minimizes the indicators. I want you to notice that. You see how we have indicators down here? You don't need to delete them. Double click on your chart. It minimizes them. If you want them back, double click on your chart. Now we see we've got the 136K target, which is the next immediate target, which is this bull flag target. We have the momentum on our side currently, but we also have a very strong probability with so much hope and excitement about the higher price action because of all the news that we do get a washout down. I'm not convinced it's going to happen, but I'm prepared if we do get this washout down into this 112, 113, 114 zone, which would also be in line with the understanding that we have that CME gap, which is still directly below us right in here, 115 to 114. These prices are a bit higher than what we're seeing. So if we're seeing what was that, 114, 114, 115, if this is about $800 higher, well, let's look at this. We see that target we have is about 113 to 112. So just a little bit lower. This is right about where that CME futures gap would fill if that happens. But we have other fundamentally bullish news coming in as well. We see that we have the FOMC meeting next week, next Wednesday. There's some people that think there's going to be cuts and it's going to happen. If it does, it would be a super bullish shock to the market. Right now, it's projected that it's not likely. The U.S. Federal Reserve is expected to hold interest rate steady at 4.25 to 45% on July 30th, according to all, not some, but all 103 economists surveyed. So if we do get a rate cut from all this pressure we've been seeing from Bill Pulte and Trump and a number of other people out there in the political sphere, then that would make the markets see a very positive reaction out of it. The fact that everybody in the data is there, that it's unlikely we're going to get a rate cut next week, I'm expecting just a little bit of chop regarding specifically just the FOMC. So realize that, but this does give further indication, especially following when we get the press conference that comes out of the FOMC meeting. It's getting more and more likely that we're going to see a pretty strong rate cut in September and then through the rest of the year. So that is very bullish, especially for those people that think that it's a 4-year cycle. Everything, the top's going to happen at the end of Q3, start of Q4 this year. Well, they're starting to show signs of other things that are indicating it's unlikely to me that we're going to get the absolute 4-year cycle and we get the top this year. Now, that's the caveat. I still think we will get a midterm top this year because what do you see in every market? Rise, retrace, continuation. The problem with this year is there's going to be a lot of people that completely screw themselves over in the market and their portfolios because they see a dip happening in Q3 or Q4 of this year and they sell out waiting for a 60 or 70% drop because we're going into a bear market. But now we have Fed rates coming into the end of this year. We have money printing that's going to surely at some point start in a magnanimous way into the end of this year, very strongly into the 2026 from all the things that have happened on the, within DC and beyond. Some of the budgeting and all these things. I got to start limiting what I say because I'm getting shadow banned on YouTube for election bullshit because I'm talking about bills that are getting signed. I think it's such nonsense how this censorship stuff happens within these social media when I'm not even talking about the election. So screw all that nonsense. What we're talking about is the mechanics of the global financial, specifically the U.S. monetary system, and everybody's arguing we're going to get a 4-year cycle because of the halving. Well, the next halving is taking 3 Bitcoin per block, basically 3.75 or 3.075, I can't remember what it is, down to 1 point. I mean, it's becoming inconsequential, these halvings, except for the psychological impact that so many people are expecting it. And I think because of that, a lot of people are going to be left selling out of the market and then not basically having to buy in much higher because there's so many things impacting this story that really substantiates higher, faster, longer. We got 2,112 people in the room right now. I just want to say welcome to the BitLab Academy show. Big love to each and every one of you. If this is your first time, it's not going to be your last time. My name's Kellam. Welcome to the family. We're about to go through some charts, some data, some things that are suggesting what's about to happen in this market, especially for some major players like BNB, like Solana, like XRP, and therefore XLM, Ondo, Ethereum. What is happening in this market and where can we see things going? I do want to shout out our channel partners, Bitcoin IRA, which you can find at bitcoinira.com. I highly recommend you if you are in the US taking advantage of that incredible service. And also shout out to Arculus, the best crypto cold storage solution out there. GetArculus.com. Use code BitLab20 for 20% off. Again, that's GetArculus.com. Use code BITLAB20 for 20% off. The best crypto cold storage solution out there. Protect your crypto. Protect your future. Now, what are we talking about? We got the FOMC meeting next week. We have Ethereum stable supplies, surged. Each just hit a massive milestone. Stablecoin supply has surged past 140 billion. And I think this is about to explode in an incredible way, especially with the new bills and regulations in support and giving clarity around some of these things. The ETH starting to move much higher, as well as XRP, as well as BNB, as well as Solana. These major top altcoins substantiating major market caps. I mean, look at this. ETH is at 436 billion. We got XRP almost just shy of 200 billion. Tether's at 162 billion. BNB, 109 billion. Solana, 103 billion. The next biggest coin is Dogecoin, 37 billion. there is a major gap between Solana, BNB, XRP, and Ethereum between all the rest of the coins. And so as these coins are starting to move in a major way, this is opening up that idea of a really strong alt season coming in, especially with the clarity that's putting altcoins on the horizon in view of these major corporate players, many of whom are going to be launching their own stablecoins. I would assume, if especially considering such a large percentage of the stablecoin market being on Ethereum, as we can see this massive surge right here on this this headline, including Solana, including XRP with their RLUSD. I could see that there's going to be major corporate buying pressure coming into some of these massively top altcoins as they start deploying their different stablecoin processes and integrations, because they're going to want to have some stake, some ownership in the platforms that are helping deploy their basically new payment rails. Understand this, and you understand why there's going to be somewhat of a focused alt season this cycle. Now, I think we're going to see a lot of gains across blah, 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 whatever. But I think there's going to be very focused, huge amounts of capital in some of these major players in the altcoin market. So we see that. We see a no Fed rate cut. We got the Ethereum 140 billion stablecoin. We also see this right here, 21 shares files with the SEC to launch an Ondo ETF. Seems Ondo is turning heads. And I don't know if you guys noticed it last night, but Ondo had went up to $1.14, $1.15. Now it's getting a little bit of a pullback. To me, so many of you and so many people I see on crypto Twitter felt like they missed the boat with Ondo last night, because Ondo made a run. And let's look at this on the 1 hour chart. Double click here. We saw a very nice move. Look at this. This is the move right here. We saw a move up about 12% up here to $1, almost $1.17. And people go, I missed the boat. Some of you even bought the top here, and now you're frustrated like hell because it pulled back. Well, what happens in these markets? We talk about it on a daily basis: rise, retrace, continuation. Sometimes these retraces, and more often than not, wreck people because they don't understand the basics of a bull trend. Okay, we got the rise. Cool, is an ETF. We also had other news about the Bitwise index ETF with a lot of altcoins that got approved but then paused. But having this sell-off doesn't scare me. This is showing the appetite, but then some fear in the market. But I'm very bullish on what we're seeing right now, because if there's a hesitation in capital rushing right now, but we're still seeing overwhelming, incredible fundamental growth in the altcoin ecosystem and the government support of this asset class, this is a gift when you're seeing these down days. Even if it means you don't have dry powder to buy, might just mean you got some time to step away from the computer and just take a deep breath, because this is just incredible to see stuff like this. Something tells me there's more major news on the horizon for Ondo. I'm going to tell you a little hint, hint, hint. I am aware of what this major news is, and I'm just telling you, don't be mad at dips. Make sure you stack into alts that have strong partners, incredible integrations, and real revenue streams beyond just being a speculatively cool coin. Understand that. Even Pengu. Pengu is getting to the point where it's a pretty damn solid coin. And some of you would be like, but it's a meme. Well, one of the things you have to realize about Pengu is Pengu also has an incredibly smart leader, right? Luca, who has basically developed a massive intellectual property business within Pengu. They have little plushy toys and stuff in Walmart, and they've got all kind of different things they're doing, games and different features and stuff that they're doing. So the fact that this sold off, boom, oops. The fact that this sold off all the way up here, oh my God, look at that 92% drop. It was dead, but they were continuing to build fundamental things in the background. And so now that we're seeing this, I mean, look at this massive move from here up. That's a 370% move up, and then a whole nother bear market. Look at that, 55% down, and then absolute launch season that we're seeing right here, 467%. This tells me a couple things. Even if you don't hold Pengu, which I don't, this also tells me that there is capital appetite out there for some pretty large influx into projects. And as this has happened, and we're seeing Pump kind of not perform super well right now, a lot of times these players are understanding what is happening on a timeline with different assets. So this is a lot of capital flowing in. I wouldn't be surprised to see this continue some and then have a cooling off period that then you see capital rotating into other coins. And it could be pump, it could be dog on Bitcoin, it could be Dogecoin, it could be a lot of different things. But this is telling me this is a pretty large appetite for asset, for sort of obscure, what was thought to be obscure asset in the space. But we also saw different major exchanges changing their PFPs, their little images for their socials, to a damn penguin, a Pingu penguin. So you have to pay attention to things like that because that sometimes means something is stirring. So we saw that. What else we got? BNB hit a new all-time high over $800. And remember, on BNB, guys, BNB, I think, is going to be a monster. So largest exchange out there, Binance, right? But notice what we saw last time. What did we see last time? Right here. Oh my God, look at that gain. That's not what I'm talking about. Zoom out. This is what I'm talking about. Look at that breakout. That is monster breakout, 1,500%. Now, am I saying there's going to be a 1,500% pump on BNB? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is these massive gains into long periods of accumulation, which just chop up and down, but relatively sideways when you look at that. Look at that, 1,100 days, 1,200 days, whatever that is, over 1,000 days. And then boom, massive move up. And then what do we see again? We see a massive move up. And then now look at this, 1,500 days. But what I've seen in this market cycle, and it's not just BNB, it's Ethereum, it's our altcoins in general. If we come over here and look at the total three, we've seen a lengthening of this accumulation frustration zone. So you see this right here. This is what we're looking at. This zone right here, which was about, 772 days. If we do it right here from the top here to when it broke that top, that is 1,000 days. Well, let's look at where we're at right now. There's a longer accumulation frustration zone cycle right now for the altcoins. And that's for a couple reasons. Currently, we're at 1,300 days. I'm expecting this go a little bit longer, and then we will break the previous all-time high. But there's a little bit more of an extension of what we're seeing in the altcoin market because there's been such a clarity that's happened with Bitcoin. There's been massive deployment of capital and development of the Bitcoin financialized ecosystem like Strategy and Metaplanet and Similar Scientific and GameStop. And the list, there's 125 corporations and now more that have been stacking into a Bitcoin treasury. Publicly traded corporations. Okay. And so there's been a lot of capital focus and attention on that and a lot of clarity, regulatory clarity on Bitcoin. And it's only just now gotten to the point where the altcoin market also is getting that clarity as well. So I'm expecting now that we're seeing this massive growth in the Bitcoin ecosystem, I still expect the altcoin market to do exceptionally well. But again, it's going to be some focused players out there that get a huge amount of capital focus and attention that come into it. One of those being BNB. And we see that massive gain like we saw before. I'm not expecting this massive gain out of this, but let's go ahead and look. I don't even know what to measure on this. Let's measure from here, option F. This is going to be completely speculated. I can't even do that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come measure the top here, option F. If you're on PC, it's Alt F. Now we have a Fibonacci, extension. Now this is going to be very muted compared to that last major gain, but that's okay. It's a much larger market. But I think, honestly, we got an inverse head and shoulders here as well, like we see on the Bitcoin market. So that alone is going to give it an astronomical target. You see this shows that it could go up to the 4.618, 2740. Do I think that's absolutely going to happen? Who knows? But I do know that this is, especially with this massive growth we saw in the last cycle, and we're about to see a lot more capital focus as the world's waking up to crypto. And ETH is kind of the darling child of the world, but very much so in the US because of all the stable coins. BNB is also very much aligned, a lot of interest and content and mentions and on the other half of the world. And there's a major ecosystem that's being built out in the BNB chain. And I expect there'll be some corporate treasuries on BNB in the Eastern, the Asian countries. and so on and so forth. Come on, click on the god dang letters, motherfucker. There we go. All right. Looking for a target somewhere here in the, 1100, anywhere from 1100 to $3,000, I think we're going to have to see how this plays out. Right. But point being here is I think we're going to see some explosive growth into this zone. I think realistically somewhere between the 2.8 and the 2.618 and the 4.618 would be a reasonable target for BNB. But we also saw Ondo. We just talked about that major rippage with the little sell-off. But when you zoom out on the 3-day, what do you see? On the 3-day, when you're not focused on the 1 hour, oh my God, big, come on, dang it. I swear to God, my computer never works when I am streaming with you guys. Works perfectly when I'm not streaming. Massive move up. Oh my God, scary move down. But what do you see? It's still within the channel, but the channels also tend to break down. But when you zoom out on this and you realize that we have got a beautiful bullish reversal pattern here with this double bottom, right? W formation, the price action pushing up here, trying to attack, getting beyond this. But this is really where I'm watching the $1.19 to $1.25 because of all these lows, basically this bar of a lot of liquidity interest right in here. Once we clear through this, expecting some sort of pullback support and then a continuation here, I see a lot of promise coming into Ondo. And remember, at one of Ondo's summits, the summit only about a couple months back, they talked about bringing 1,000 of the top securities and assets that are traded on the stock market on chain. So at some point, they're going to, I have to wink here, at some point, they're going to start deploying some of these tokenized assets on chain, which is going to bring a lot of media attention, but also a lot of liquidity attention, capital attention as that is rolled out. So that would be very, very major. You know what works, Kelly? That smile. That says from that guy, shout out to you. I appreciate the positive message here. I always love getting super chats and requests for coins, and all you that are members help keep the channel going. Andy D says, later BitLab, I'm going to hit the punching bag. Sometimes I need that. Brian Onafore says, dag, and lost my big Luna bag. And to this day, CZ is a villain to me. A shout out to you, Sky. Sorry to hear that. Dave Middleton, Granny's Garden, K-Jam. Big love to each and every one of you. I see you all in here. Big love to you. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Rumble, if you're watching on X, I always love it when you guys get involved in that live chat. I can see all your chats. They're all on one screen right here next to my charts. So I trying to pay more attention to y'all's. Mexi just listed NVIDIA, Tesla, and Hood. Shout out to you, the real PG. Appreciate you. Alexander G, always appreciate you being here. But we also got XRP doing some things, right? Listed in that Bitwise ETF that immediately got pulled down. This right here, SEC approves conversion of Bitwise crypto fund, and then immediately paused it, and it could have, positively affected all these coins. I think Link is actually included in this as well. I don't think this is a fully correct list, but XRP it got, approved and then paused, and we're seeing XRP. I mean, beautiful move here. From remember back here when it just the never ending chop down in these zones, especially right in here. But then boom, this major move. Look at that. 500-600% move to the upside, and it's just been consolidating here. And now we got the breakout up, which did go to new all-time highs, and we're getting a little bit of softening here, but it's not the end of the world. Because why? What do we see in every bull trend? Rise, retrace, continuation. So let's not freak out when we get the retrace. So right now we're seeing the landscape looking forward, becoming more bullish, and the support of the U.S. government. So when we get this, oh my God, and it's double top, which I think I talked about yesterday, and the bearish divergence on the money flow and the RSI, it was kind of telegraphed this was likely going to come back. And I even drew that, not only here, I didn't draw this today. I mean, look at this. This right here coming potentially back to 293 or $3, right here. This would not be bearish. This would just be what? Rise, retrace, continuation. XLM also looking like that, except this one's a little bit different. On XLM, Yeah, we had a bit of a bear div there. Look at this. Price action relatively same highs. RSI much lower, showing weakness. And look at this. This came right down, bounced just about the target that we drew the other day. We talked about this already. For those of you that are watching here, I've been giving you some levels, and it's been insane how accurate these levels have been hitting. And not only did we have the bearish divergence, we had the flippening right here. Look at this, option V, the flippening into the bearish, basically the negative money flow here. This came up and rounded back out right here. It looked like it was going to cross zero line and immediately got rejected. And what we do, price action fell. And this is the same time the RSI lost the 50 line. I'm giving you guys the signals, man. I'm giving you the signals, baby. Come on. Chris, new moon dump already underway. Maybe new moon coming. Set your limit buys, full moon pump in a couple of weeks. Well, you know what? It has been pretty damn accurate. Solana. We've talked about this a lot. It broke out. It has not. I mean, it broke out the 4-year, 5-year trend line right here, 174, 175, 177. This broke out. It kind of made its way towards this 220 region we talked about. It's getting a little soft here. This is on the daily. Let's go to the 4-hour. Okay, so look, price action pushing up right here. What is the strength doing as the momentum is slowing down? Still pushing up, but look, the RSI bearish divergence. Look at that. See, lower highs mean it's getting weaker, but the price is going higher. And you see the money flow slowly melting out a bit right there. That was telling you that we're likely going to get a little bit of a sell-off. We got it. Now, the question is this going to hold? I mean, currently, look, what do you get in bear trends? You get a fall, retrace, continuation. So what are we getting right now? We're getting a fall, retrace, and look how weak everything is right now. Money flow also. Unless this gets some jolt for something else in the news, this is telling me this is likely going to be a bit of a bear flag and continue down into this region right here, about 182, 180. And ultimately, that would be an okay retest, but I would kind of like to see it. I mean, this is already retested here. Yeah, anywhere in this region would be, I think, a great confirmation area for a continuation back to the upside. Bittensor Tau. Kind of just chopping in the zone right now. And negative money flow, and the RSI is kind of trending to the downside, came up to the 50 line. If this rejects here and it comes down, then we're likely going to see a spill a bit lower, back down into the 400s, potentially upper 390s. Link, I mean, looks bearish. Head and shoulders. We talked about this yesterday. Head and shoulder, head, shoulder. Okay, came down, retested. Now it's making that move to the downside. Look at the target we had here. This has done that. Now, so many people feel like they're getting caught off sides versus just looking at the potentialities is what's going to happen. In this case, nailed it. This kind of bull trapped people, going back above the neckline. But I mean, look at this. So RSI was weak as hell here. Got rejected right in the 50 zone. So this is about to go up, but there's no strength and the money flow is negative. Come on, look at the data. Don't just look at your hype and excitement. Then we got also things like injective. I mean, look at this. The rollover mechanics were there. The RSI mechanics were there, signaling a rollover, signaling some weakness here. There's no real money flow coming in. But I'm very bullish on injective. So a lot of the things that they're doing, very, very bullish. Then, of course, Avalanche looks exactly the same as injective. Look at these two charts. Boom, 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 rollover. Okay. Boom, 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 rollover. We just need some work to be done. Sui is also on that list with that Bitwise. This looks like it's kind of chopped out here where you pushed up, boom, and then it's just weaker, comes up, and look at where these tops are at the previous range lows. This telegraphed weakness. Then you also have the head and shoulders telegraphing that there's a bit of a correction in store. So as I outlined yesterday on my show, yesterday's show, although things were getting exciting, my thumbnail was crash. Okay. Now we haven't really gotten the crash yet, but I was looking at the things that were being telegraphed. This is that right here. It says crash opportunity, because there's going to be so many people that get frustrated here with the pullback on some of these assets. Things got a little exciting. Things got a little bit jubilant. The crash isn't a crash. the crash we're seeing that we're going to see in a number of coins, very likely, is a rise, retrace what jacks everybody up. But those of you that are looking at the charts, those of you that are looking at the data to front run when this retrace is going to reverse back into a continuation for continued upside in these assets, you all are going to win. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Shout out to that guy for the super chat. And I don't just mean the random that guy. I mean the person's name on here, that guy. Big love to you. I appreciate you. We'll see you in the Discord. The link is pinned in the top of the live chat there. It's also in the description below. Also be doing a Spaces tonight on the Discover Crypto channel. The Discover Crypto X. We're be doing a Spaces on trading. We're also going to have some people from the L-Bank team there, one of our channel partners, and talking about some different tips and tricks and signals and things that we're seeing. So get on there. Make sure you're following me on X, which is at Kelly Kellam, right here. You see, make sure you're following the correct one with the check mark and this crypto punk right there. Make sure you're following the correct one. And you can also follow at Academy BitLab, but we'll be live tonight about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on that. But I love you guys. I appreciate you. Hope you all have an absolutely wonderful day. Big love to you. Shout out to Crypto Crank. I need your help, my brother. I need 20 more subs to get to 200. Everybody, you can see his name in the live chat. Click on his name. If you're on YouTube, you can go and give him a sub. He's active, kind of a part of what we're doing in our Discord. He's a great trader, gives great input. Crypto Crank, big shout out to you. And shout out to Rivio Trail. Where is it? I can't see it. Ravioli Trail. I couldn't see it because it's so small. Shout out to Ravioli Trail. 5 gifted memberships. I got some people coming in here as new members. Big love to you. I got some special things coming for the members on this channel. So big love to you. I appreciate you. But that's all I got today, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Adios, muchachos.